Hey guys, and welcome back to another TV thing. We're here in storage to take a look at this set here, right in front of you. You may look at it in a first glance and be like, that's no TV, it's just a big cabinet. Well, you'd be wrong. It is the Crosley 348 CP Swing-A-View from 1946-1947. This is a very high-end consumer television set that also includes a record player and an AM/FM shortwave radio, all included in one cabinet. And it boasts the special feature that you can swing the picture tube around so you can see so it can point at different people in the room without having to move it, and it hides away when not in use, so you don't actually have to see the screen. Other special things about this TV is that you only get like a handful of channels of what you're supposed to, and there's these big tuning cans that you have to change out and fine tune to each station in your area. It's not like a regular TV. And the chassis arrangement's also very interesting, but we'll get a look at that later. Here's one of those tuning cans here, the Crosley Television Picture Pilot. It's got your tuning pins there, adjustments, and underneath these two caps down here is where you change your channels using those and screws down in there. So that'll be interesting to figure out. Each TV has 4 of these, and it uses a selector going through a cable down from the radio section into the TV section. Looking at the front of the TV, you've got your main control panel here, and you have an extra 2 controls up on the TV part, or the picture section. You get your volume, AM, shortwave, FM, your tone, your tuning for the radio, your focus for the television, your horizontal for your television, your channel selector, and you can see here mine are worn off or never applied, but you only get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 channels out of the 13. You do not get all of them. This can include channel 1. This is a channel 1 TV, or channel 1 capable TV. Your vertical, and then you off, radio, phono, video. Mine's worn out around there. On your control panel, and then up here you've got brilliance, which really is just your brightness and your contrast. This TV is early enough where they weren't standardized like they are today. And of course, to shut this, it just folds up and slides in. And this is a very interesting mechanism that hides all of this away. Of course, looking at the back of the set, there isn't really too much to see. You've got a back cover here, the back cover over there with your tube chart and label on it, a really large back cover going down the middle of the TV. You've got a cover on the side of your picture tube, and then a cover on the back. Another special thing about this TV is that nothing sticks out of the back, so you can put this right up against a wall. It's not like the later TVs, and especially color roundies, where they have to be like 6 or 8 inches off the wall because the neck sticks out so much. And of course, this TV uses a 10BP4 picture tube. The one in this particular TV right now is the aluminized version of the 10BP4. I don't know how it tests. We're going to do that later. I was told it was good, but I've got plenty of good replacement 10BP4s if this one is bad, which I don't suspect it to be. Get a closer look at the tube chart here. Here's the tube chart of the 348CP Crosley Swing of View. You can see that it absorbs about, the TV itself is 360 watts. That's as much as a roundy usually is. And I think it has 30 or 32 tubes in total. You got all of those in the main chassis. These here are your 4 tuning cans. So you can see the channels that they can tune in there, and you can get one that does channel 1. Here's your chassis, the picture chassis, 4 tubes on it. 10 FP4, that's the aluminized, 10 BP4, but they're both the same TV otherwise. And then your radio. It is a pretty powerful radio, and it can operate on its own, independent of the television set. And of course, the fun word, this is an apparatus that uses inventions of the United States patents licensed by RCA. Everything's an RCA clone. And it's Crosley, division of Avco, Cincinnati, Ohio, printed in USA. Love to see it. Love to see it. And then of course up here, you've just got another label telling you it's dangerous to service the picture tube and that you should not touch it. And it says that on the side as well. And another label that I'm guessing someone taped over to preserve it, which I appreciate greatly. Your large cabinets here with large vents. See the pictures chassis down there. And in case any issues pop up, this TV did come with a spare chassis that I can pull from and do whatever I want with as well. Now the exciting part of removing all of the covers, so we can get at the picture chassis and TV chassis and radio chassis and remove all of them for service. Now we've got all the covers removed of this TV, and can see the very impressive mechanisms and cables that slide to allow the TV to fold shut. Very interestingly, the Early Television Foundation Museum in Hilliard, Ohio has a swing of view just like this one, but theirs might be slightly earlier because it doesn't have this metal up here. Theirs is wood. It's all wood construction. Mine's all metal, which is very interesting. With interesting patterns there. You can see the aluminized 10 BP4 up in here, the yoke and the focus and all of that. And it comes down, and you get your record player, and here's your radio chassis up in there. And then in the way bottom is your big TV chassis with your transformers and your flybacks and a pretty decently sized speaker up in there, and a bunch of wires and cables coming all down. Now the first thing I'm going to try and remove will be the picture chassis up here, and then work my way down the TV. And there's so many wires and cables and things all up in here. And before I've taken it out now, there was a module in here that allowed the TV to be started and stopped remotely, like over a network. So whoever had this installed, or whoever had this in their house or museum, was using it in such a way to have it automatically start and stop at different times. Also should mention, I got this TV from the Early Television Foundation convention back in May. It was an auction item. I'm guessing because it was very big, nobody bid on it except me, and that's how I got it. Now looking at the picture chassis, there is a couple screws. There's 4 screws around it. I'm going to go ahead and take those 4 screws out. Two on this side, 2 on the opposite side. I'm gonna make sure I don't lose them. Okay, with those screws out, maybe the chassis can slide a little bit. I have to remember to remove the knobs in the front so don't get caught on anything. Weird. How is this thing built? Oh, I see. I think I'm going about this the wrong way. I've never taken one of these apart, and I'm sure most people haven't either. I think this is a classic early 10BP4 set where the front comes off somehow and you pull the picture tube out through the front. I'm going to stop and I'm going to take a look at that and show y'all how to do it. Okay, well, excuse me for my unknowing, but it is in fact you have to take the face off the TV like most other 10BP4 sets. Turns out there's 2 screws underneath the front that you take out. Of course, probably the only one filming this. There isn't really any disassembly guides like there are for other TVs. And old things like this are built very differently than how they would be today, or even later TVs where everything was very straightforward, very simple. These aren't. These are old. Yup, just like that. The face comes off. You've got a nice rubber gasket and your safety glass. Based on how much gloop is in here, I wonder if someone has replaced this rubber gasket before. And it appears the safety glass itself is delaminating in places. I'm going to see what my options are for dealing with that, but it'll mostly be a later problem outside of the scope. Now removing the picture tube is easy peasy, also because it doesn't have a ion trap. It won't be that hard to reinstall. You remove the cap on the back, you remove the anode, and you pull it out the front. It's a very interesting design, I'll say. and you pull it out the front like so. There's your luminized 10BP4. It's pretty much identical to a normal 10BP4, except it's aluminized. And very interestingly, it does not have a DAG coating on it. That's really odd. My motorcycle fell over. Stand by. This is precisely why we can't have nice things. Look what it did to Brad. Now I'm going to have to fix that. Hey, if anyone wants a motorcycle, hit me up. Okay, so now there's plugs on the bottom of this chassis going down to places down below. You can see they're running through here. I can't see them, thanks camera. But they run down through here and come out the bottom to these big octo plugs in Bakelite sockets. You want to plug them, remove them, so you can get the chassis out top. You can see that there. So they go in. Your anode does too, but the anode goes through a hole in the chassis and you don't actually need to remove it. So with those unplugged, just have to feed them out and get this picture chassis out. So that is the picture chassis removed. So we're just feeding those two wires up through the middle of the TV set and unscrewing the two potentiometers from the front of the cabinet. Now I can go and focus on the radio cabinet and see how I'm going to remove that. First things first is to remove this spring here. To do that, slide it forward and out. And that gives you access to it. Like that. Now it's best to be careful with the radio in this kind of state where it can loosely flop about. You don't want it flopping around and damaging anything. The next thing to do is on the front panel there is 4 screws. You're going to want to remove those 4 screws on the front panel you saw earlier. Also in the control panel there are 5 flathead screws just towards the top. And to get this piece out, which retains the chassis here, which is kind of flopping over, I should have done it in a different order. And there's this screw here has to be taken almost all the way out, so this can be slid forward far enough so you can access all the screws, because normally you wouldn't be able to. I've tried sorting through as much of these wires as I can to get them all loose. You will have to take the knobs out as well. That's a given. So you can slide the chassis out. Of course, an important part holding the radio to the TV section is this cable here. This cable is what allows the tuning knob on the front of the TV to actuate the switch mechanism in the bottom, which you'll see at a different time. To get a good look at it, you've got these picture pilots, which I showed earlier, and they just slot out of the bottom of the TV. You get 4 8 channels, and you get these channels based on where you were. You can see channel 2 through 4. That's what this one does. It does channels 2 and 4. Tough luck if you have an over-the-air modulator, 5 and 7, and you don't have one of these that does your over-the-air modulator. You will have to find one or use a different TV station. At home, I use channel 6. I don't see a channel 6 one of these, which is unfortunate, but maybe one of my spare ones is a channel 6. We'll have to see. Put them in a safe place. Picture pilots are not getting any easier to find. I'm happy I have an entire spare chassis to mess with a load of spare vacuum tubes for it, because this TV uses a lot of vacuum tubes. And you can also see back here, someone's modified something. I don't know what this is for. I'm guessing we will find out later. Anyway, there are 2 set screws on that. Let's see if I can't get those set screws loose. Just take them out. And it comes out like that. So what I ended up having to do is, because of how it's built, take the entire drawer assembly, just slides out of the TV set, main cabinet, and then from there you can fish all your wires and things through this hole. That's the radio set. That leaves us with one final part, the bottom of the TV, this main chassis here. There are 4 bolts holding it all the way around, and it should slide straight out the back. And it is very, very heavy if it is anything like the other chassis, and you can see the ginormous power transformers dotted around the set. My set appears to be missing 2 of these screw assemblies, unfortunately. And we will not be taking out the record player, because frankly I do not own any 78s, and I have very little interest in 78s. I know some people really love 78 RPM records. I just don't have an interest, so the record player is not that big of a priority for me. Although I do have a machine that can cut records, and I might be interested in cutting a 78 for use, but I've got better sets. Also, I'm bleeding. Isn't that horrible? Now the chassis should slide out. you want to fish the anode through is a very long anode wire. Very last thing to come out will be the speaker, and I'll load it up and take it over to the shop and start inspecting everything. Speaker's 12 by 4 screws. It's fairly simple. The speaker, it's in good shape. Not a whole lot more to say about it. Now to load this up and take it over to the shop. Okay, we're going to wrap this up by testing all the tubes, starting with the big important one, the picture tube, the 10FP4 aluminized 10BP4. So I've got my trusty B&K 465 here hooked up. You can see we've got our 10FP4, 6.3 volts, regular 250, 18 to 53. So we're going to start with heater adjust 6.3. See it glowing up in there. That's good. 250 volts on our G2. 18 to 53, so I'm going to set that about halfway. Heater voltage is good. Shorts, nothing. Cut off. Oh, I forgot to put my scale to normal. Oops. Cut off. We've got some cut off there, not bad. And it's slowly going up. Set our cutoff, 18 to 53. It's a 10. It's not great, but I'm guessing this thing hasn't been powered up in a long time. And again, if it is bad, I have several other good 10BP4s that I can use and spare ion traps and all that. But the 10FP4 will be brighter than a BP because it's aluminized and stuff like that. Okay, emissions. We're into the good. That's not bad. I'm going to go ahead and test the other tubes while I let this bake. And when I'm done with all that, I'll touch base again. Well, I've tested the tubes on my Sencor Mighty Mite. They all test fine, at least the major ones do. I've had this sitting on heater adjust, not on emissions for a little bit. And it's come up slightly, not great, but you know, not horrible. We'll see what happens when we put a picture on it. Again, I did hear, at least from the museum, that this TV was restored. Looking under it, there was signs of restuffing. I don't know how far that went. I don't know how much they did, and I don't know how much this thing worked before. I don't know how it got to the museum or how it got to me. Anyway, that'll be it for this video. If you feel like it, you can like, you can subscribe. Hopefully this video will be, or the next video after this, part 2, will be out soon. And have a good rest of your day.